Would you believe me if I told you that I finally found the perfect grinding spot that has everything you could possibly want from one? Like really good money per hour, really good Agris efficiency, really like pretty much the best experience in the game, and it's also very loot scroll efficient, so you can easily just use yellow level 2 loot scroll and not feel bad about burning 2 loot scrolls per hour. Yep, that's pretty much Elvia Hexe. First, I should let you know, this is the very first time I ever made a video on Elvia Hexe, and I mainly decided to grind here because I was told Manos Topaz rings are a thing. I wasn't aware that people min-max this game to this degree, where you purposely go and you cap your AP brackets just so you can get some species damage. Here's how this works. The AP cap here is 898, pretty much 900 AP, after which only 5% of your AP matters after the 900, so basically nothing really matters past this much. So all you need to do is somehow get 900 AP without the brackets you're losing from the Manos Topaz rings, as long as you can equip them. These are the start of today's show, what allows you to grind past the normal speed here. Extra damage to animals, because monsters here are animals. I didn't have them for every single hour. I started with one like this, one pry, and then this was crescent, and then I got a try, and then towards the end I had double try Manos Topaz rings. It does seem to be noticeable. I can't tell you exactly how much, but I was able to pull 30,000 trash in the end. I started with around 25, so at least getting the rings gave me like 5,000 extra trash per hour. Since I did every single hour mounted on Heilang, I should remind people I cannot absorb rage when I'm mounted, and I don't have a self AP buff, so in my case this AP here you just add 30 from add-on, and I barely was able to get to 900-ish, cap it with both the rings on. Journals, crystals, pretty much full AP with one accuracy crystal, this is what I used. Add-ons doesn't really matter, just Heilang add-ons, and consumables as much as I could possibly get, min-maxed. I will show you in-game my elixir rotation. It's I believe only 6 elixirs, pretty much offensive stuff, because on Heilang I don't need defensive elixirs and I definitely don't need HP regen, so just those 6. Let me know in the comments, how many of you were actually aware that those rings exist? Do you have them? Do you use them? Is this news to you? Because it was to me like a month ago. For the grinding spot, I did Marni room. It's what I would recommend. I heard out of Marni it's slower, so just like for Biragi for example, you grind faster in Marni. So this is the most efficient way to do it. I never did any hour out of Marni to tell you how much slower it is, but you can let me know in the comments. The point is, in Marni you have just 3 packs. You bounce between 3 packs, the respawn rate is very fast, and the advice I was given that I still struggle to follow to this day is to not linger in the packs too much. I was told just kill the big dudes that explode and then move to the next pack. Just don't linger too much trying to kill all of the remaining monsters. I'm trying, but as I said, I still to this day I feel like I linger too much in the packs. Weirdly enough, throughout my hours, I thought that the more buffs you get, boss buffs, the 5 minutes Elvia buff, the faster you grind, but bosses here spawn pretty frequently. I get 3 to 4 per hour, which I think it's the most in any Elvia spot, so Calfian Elvia spot. I would say usually, but pretty much every single time this results in 2 buffs per hour. So 10 minutes of Elvia buff per hour. One in the beginning, around 15 to 20 minutes into your hour, and then the other one towards the end in your last 10 minutes. In my second to last hour, I had 2 of those yellow buffs. I forgot the name of it, but the thing that makes the portal yellow, the other Calfian Elvia buff. Yeah, I had 2 of those plus 2 bosses. I tried to time them, or just I timed them properly so I can have 4 buffs in 1 hour, 20 minutes of Calfian Elvia buff, and it didn't make any difference. Maybe I just grinded like a potato, maybe something else went wrong, I lingered in the packs too much, but even with 4 buffs in that specific hour, I still got the same 30,000 trash. So yeah, let me show you some beautiful numbers. Starting with Garmoth, 1.5-ish billion silver per hour average, with a disappointing 28.5 thousand trash average. The first hour that I actually tracked was this one, almost 25,000 trash. I believe here, I will just put a screenshot so you can see what gear I had, because I don't actually remember, but I believe I only had one pry ring or no ring at all. The only reason this hour is even tracked is because it's the only one that dropped me a distortion. You know, it had to be there. Otherwise, I would have just ignored it. There were some other hours I did before this that didn't have the rings, and let's just say I wasn't really planning to make a video on this place, so I didn't track them, I didn't put them here. First hour, second, third, fourth, you know, you can see the trash per hour going up, 27, 28, eventually hitting 30, and then these 5 hours. This one, then this one, then this one, and then this one with 30,000 trash. It's normalized around 30 once I got the double try rings. This seems to be the best I can pull on a not exactly normal class. You know, grinding mounted on Heilang isn't exactly a real class, so maybe if you use a real class, you will do even more than 30,000 trash. If I edit one of these hours like this and I put, say, 2 more distos to make it more money, with 3 distos in 9 hours, 1 every 3 hours, it's 1.55. I mean, you can see it yourself. If I put only 1, so 2 distos in 8 hours, it actually barely changes. Interesting. I suppose it makes sense since you make so much money from trash. It's like 800-ish million silver per hour in just trash alone, so it makes sense that distos don't account for that much. Do you know how you can get more distos? Maybe I only got 1 disto because I didn't like the video. I think if you like this video, maybe or leave a comment. Maybe you're gonna get more than 1 disto in 9 hours. Maybe that will do the trick for you. On the Excel side, in terms of money per hour, it's basically the exact same story, kind of the exact same results, even though the script imports the base-ish white value. So you can say that distos are not valued at their full price, but regardless, it's about 1.5 billion silver on yellow, 1.8 on blue plus Agris, which is actually efficient, or since I only average 28.5 and I can get 30 nowadays, this is, in my opinion, the official results. And for those of you who can probably, because I know Gameru can do 32, 33, let's say you can do 33,000 trash per hour, then these are your results. Just for the sake of seeing some numbers, let's say 31, that's 31,000 trash, and then people like Pavel and Netherrax, 38, 2 billion per hour on yellow. Fascinating. Anyway, put this back to 31, whatever. This was the hour, 30,000. This was the one where I had 4 buffs, almost 4. Now I remember, the hour ended before the last buff expired. Regardless, 30-ish is what I can pull. In terms of monsters, it seems to be close to 6,000 per hour. This will become relevant a bit later when you look at experience and all that. But just remember, about 6,000-ish monsters killed per hour, almost. For Agris, again, finally I can brag about this and say it's really good. Trash per hour here is, which one? This one, right. The last hour, this is when I tested Agris. It's about 13, it's not really relevant, but let's just say it's 30, you burn 13 Agris per monster, double of that on the bigger ones, the guy, I forgot his name, the one that absorbs souls, the Reaper dude, yeah, the elites, those burn more. I imagine Hexe Marie also burns more, and the big boss, the actual Elvia buff boss, that one you cannot use Agris on it, it doesn't work. So this only includes, this only accounts for the main trash, words. 80,000 points per hour is what I burned in the last one. So 30,000 trash for 82,000 points per hour. I valued it at 95% efficiency because, let's just say, I'm estimating you will probably loot 95% of what you kill on MARNI, because you only really have this issue when you have a buff on. With the Elvia buff, as you can see right here, for example, you leave a lot of trash on the ground, so I imagine some of that goes to waste, whereas when you don't have a buff, this doesn't really seem to be an issue. With that in mind, it's close to 700 million silver for the efficiency number. You know, money made per all of your Agris burned. You will see later how that compares. Let's say if you loot everything, it's 700 that. If you loot 90%, there, just, you know, playing with the numbers. If I look here, it would be somewhere, can you see it? I don't see it, this one. Yeah, this is where it would be. That's why I say Agris Efficiency here is good. You know, it doesn't suck. I can actually recommend it. Compared to something like Jade Forest, it's it's not the same, but like, come on, it's good enough, right? It's good enough. You can grind a full hour without running out of Agris. That's an achievement at this point. For experience, this is why I told you to remember that almost 6,000 monsters killed per hour. This is the back end chart, you don't really care about anything here. It's just, this was the original test when I tested experience, the original numbers, 26.3 thousand trash per hour, this many monsters. And if I scale it up to 30,000, my current speed, it pretty much matches the monsters per hour. So it seems to be a clean scaling. I can use the older test before I had those rings, the Manos rings, and then scale it up to 30,000 trash. And this is where it gets interesting. 30,000 trash per hour at Hexe is pretty much the same as 30,000 trash at Gyfins. A little bit better, obviously it's not the same, there is some margin of error here and there, but I find it interesting how 30,000 trash, Hexe and Gyfins are pretty much the same. So if you can pull 32, 33 at Hexe, it's pretty much the same experience as 32, 33 at Gyfins. So can I say this is the best experience per hour spot in the game? At least with my clearing speeds. I can normally do 31-ish at Gyfins, maybe 32. I can probably push the same numbers at Hexe if I was to play something that's not a mounted tamer. Lastly, for loot scroll efficiency, remember when I told you that it's also really good? If I importing the numbers, in this case combining both types of trash and averaging the prices, drop rate was close to 300%, so close to maxed out drop rate. Monsters here drop 1, 2 or 3 trash. The mini monsters, the standard ones, so it's 28%. The efficiency, the blue loot scroll, it's not 50, it's 28. Am I explaining this right? I suppose I am. I bumped it up to 30 because bigger elites drop more trash, so it's closer to that 50% efficiency. But TLDR, it's 92%. When you use yellow loot scroll, you have to do, you pop 2 loot scrolls. So the efficiency of the second one, since you don't get more rare items, only comes from more trash. In this case, more trash equals 92%. That's really, really close to perfect efficiency. So I would highly recommend yellow loot scroll here. I just like how versatile the spot is. You can pop experience, it's amazing in that aspect. You can burn Agris if you want, you can use whichever loot scroll you want, and all of this just gives you good money. So it's just perfect. I'm curious what other spot will beat this in terms of just checking all of the boxes. There you have it. That's Elvia Hexe, my review on the place. My favorite spot so far, I would say. Except I spent enough hours here to get bored of it, so it's time to move on into the next one. 2 billion per hour. For some people this is nothing, especially those of you who grind for debos and you enhance debos, and I've heard some numbers being thrown around like 3 billion per hour from spots because people enhance debos and they sell debos. So I know for some of you endgame players 2 billion per hour with Agris on is not really much, but for me it is. 1.5, 1.6 on just yellow, but for me it's a lot. For some of you it's not, right? So you do you have your own conclusion. Regardless, thanks for watching, I suppose. I will see you next time. Until then, like the video, because you want distos, don't you? Bye bye. Oh, right, I forgot. I'll give you that Hey Lang guide next, literally after this one. So, patience.